is calling for rain, but we're still alive.
Hi, and welcome to this episode of Simply Real Health in the Kitchen. Today we're going to be making some flourless carrot cake muffins, which are a great alternative when you want something a little bit special for breakfast but don't want to go down the road of full baked goods with lots of flour, lots of sugar, and things that really won't set you up well for the rest of your day. So without the flour, not a lot of sugar, and the addition of some vegetables in them, this is a great option for kids and adults alike. For this recipe, we'll need some pretty simple ingredients. First, you'll need some unrefined, unbleached cane sugar, some chopped walnuts. Raw would be best, they have the most nutrients. Some shredded carrots. You could also use real carrots, it'll take a little bit longer time. And then for your spices, you'll need some garam masala, or if you don't have that, you can also use nutmeg. We're also using some cinnamon and some cumin. You will need 1 lemon. You'll also need some chia seeds, some really good baking cups for easy cleanup, some sea salt, some baking soda, and some vanilla. For tools, you're just going to need a very good blender and a microplane zester for the lemon. First step is preheating the oven to 375 degrees. Easy. Second step is going to be preparing the chia seeds. So I'm using chia seeds just as a way to kind of bump up this healthy recipe, give you a little bit more healthy fats and some good protein in there as well. The fun thing about chia seeds is they actually expand with water. So I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, and you want to make sure to do this step first because we need it to set for a little bit so it will almost make a gel-like paste. And you can use this for a substitute for eggs in almost any recipe. I love eggs as well, but this is just something fun and different. Gives it a little bit extra crunch too. So I have 2 tablespoons in here, and I am going to combine that with 6 tablespoons of water, and then just mix it up together, and then it will form like a gel-like paste. Next step is going to be grating our lemon, and what I like to do is get the most use of ingredients as I can. So I'm actually going to press down the lemon first, so when I do use the lemon, not in this recipe, the lemon juice will be a lot juicier and a lot riper. It also makes it a little bit easier to get the zest. So just going to go down on the sides, and you just want to make sure you avoid the white. As soon as you see the white, you want to stop. That's what makes it really bitter. Okay, so our next step is going to be to grind the walnuts. Essentially what this is doing is we're making walnut flour. So instead of enriched or bleached flour, we're using walnuts instead. So grinding it in a food processor or a strong blender is the best way to go. And you just want to get it to a little bit of a finer texture than this so we can use it in our baking. So you can see when I pulsed that in the blender, it was really for like 10 seconds. Still, it's a little bit crumbly. There's some bigger chunks in there. That's okay. You just don't want to pulse it to the point where it gets kind of gluey and sticky. That won't work very well. So we'll add it into the bowl. Our big mixing bowl here. And then next we're going to do the carrots. Same thing. We're just going to blend them up so that it makes a little bit more of like a carrot paste. So I just finished pulsing the carrots. You can see it gets a nice little carrot meal there. So we're going to put this in with the walnuts as well. And you might need to scrape the bottom. Sometimes they can get stuck down there. If you're feeling adventurous, you can also try this recipe with cooked sweet potatoes. You could also try it with some pureed zucchini because it's soft enough. Really, you could hide a lot of different vegetables in here because especially when they're baked, it just looks like banana bread or carrot bread would. So it's a great way for kids, for people who are picky with veggies, to get a little bit more goodness in, especially in the morning and the beginning of the day. So we have our carrot, we have our pulsed walnuts in here. I'm going to add in our lemon zest. So this was 1 full lemon, a medium lemon, zested. We'll add that in. And now for our spices. So in this recipe, I would suggest, I'm a big fan of cinnamon. It's very anti-inflammatory. It's great for you. I am always generous on my spices. So we're going to do 2 teaspoons of the cinnamon. And then we're going to do half a teaspoon of garam masala, which is something that I use a lot. If you're familiar with some of my other recipes, I use this a lot for roasting vegetables, in soups, in stews, in chilies. It kind of has like a nice mixture between an Indian flavor and a curry powder. It has a little bit of a sweet element to it as well. So this is what's going to give these muffins more of a spice to them. So half a teaspoon of that. If you don't have that, you can use nutmeg, like I said in the beginning. And then I'm also going to do half a teaspoon of cumin, which is also a more common savory spice, but I think it gives a little bit more depth. All three of these are anti-inflammatory and antibacterial, so they're great things to start to incorporate more into your mornings, and they just have so much flavor in them. So we have our spices in. I am going to also add about a quarter teaspoon, half teaspoon of sea salt in here as well. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Get these measurements right. 1 teaspoon of vanilla in. I'm also going to do 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. So this is what will help our muffins kind of bake up and not look so flat. So we're going to do 1½ teaspoons of that. And then last but not least, this more fun thing to add in is going to be our chia seeds. So like we did before, they've been sitting here for 5 minutes or so. And I'm just going to stir them a little bit, and you'll start to see it develops like a little bit of a paste. So you can see the consistency will start to look a lot like eggs would. So I'm going to pour that into the mixture as well. And our very last ingredient is going to be the unrefined cane sugar. So if you're feeling fancy and experimental, you can definitely try this recipe with an even better sugar, like a raw honey. You could try a organic grade B maple syrup. You could also try some molasses. That would probably be amazing. But for this purpose, I'm just going to use ½ cup of sugar, and because we're making at least 12 muffins, that's really not a lot of sugar, especially compared to most pastries, most morning treats that you would have. So I think a little bit is definitely okay. So now we're going to just mix everything together, kind of mix it well, and then we'll just be scooping it into our muffin tins and placing it in the oven. When we put it in the oven, it actually does have to cook for a little bit longer, otherwise it will be really gooey because of the carrot in there, because of the chia seeds. So I'm going to put them in for at least ½ an hour, and then we will take them out and check as we go. I just pulled them out of the oven. You want to make sure that you let them sit for about 5 minutes before you try and eat them. These would be perfect paired with some natural peanut butter, some almond butter, some natural grass-fed butter, or even some coconut oil if you're going to eat them hot. Or you can also make an extra big batch and keep them in the freezer. If you like this recipe and want to see more like it, make sure you check out our website at simplyrealhealth.com. There you can sign up for a free weekly email every Thursday, getting a recipe, a tip, or some kind of idea or inspiration on a healthy life made simple. Again, this is Sarah Adler. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.